We will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Objection!
Objection! I mean, hold on a second. Alright. It is time. It is time for the trial. We gathered all the evidence we could. And now, we must present it to the judge and the jury.
What do we do? The whole situation is so confusing.
I do have some thoughts, but let's take things step by step.
Good plan. Impossible things don't just happen. We'll get to the truth one way or another.
Those glasses, Paimon, please. I'm begging you. The glasses, just
relax. Even if everyone else suspects Lenny and Lynette, at least we will be supporting them from the stands. Besides, I doubt Farina understands any more about what happened than we do.
definitely not.
Thanks, Navia. Well, we'll be going then.
Best of luck to you.
Like, you should have seen the way that she immediately pointed at Lenny. It was all vibrato, and there was no real anything behind it. She just was in the moment. And she pointed the finger at Lenny, and then everybody turned on Lenny.
Back. Well, how did your investigation go?
To be honest, you might be disappointed.
No. We're already very grateful that you were willing to help.
Well now, don't you all look disappointed. Don't tell me that your investigation came up empty-handed. That was to be expected,
Farina, stop.
of course.
Stop
the
it.
guilty can never produce proof of their innocence.
You do too much,
But
Farina.
don't let that stop you. I shall be terribly disappointed should you, my most anticipated foe, concede so easily.
Just you wait. Just call Master Corvidien. I am going to get this case solved.
Since both parties are present, I declare that the trial regarding the magic show incident is now in session. Firstly, in order for the audience to understand the causes and results of the incident, could we please have Mr. Linney explain the trick?
Yes, of course. I will explain while Lynette demonstrates on stage. All the necessary items have been prepared.
Lenny clearly reveals the details of the magic trick. Everyone in the audience
Thank you,
is
Mr. Linney.
stunned.
In that case, I take your statement to be that you ran to and remained hidden within the magic box in the audience stands once the trick began, and thus could not have committed the crime. Is this correct?
This is
Yes,
correct.
that's correct, Your Honor.
In that case, I call upon the prosecution. Lady Farina, do you wish to refute his statement in any way?
Why, of course I do. Allow me to take the first shot and break this case wide open.
Sure.
Mr. Linney is clearly lying.
Objection! No.
There's no way you could have been in the
False.
box the whole time if you were to abduct Halsey and murder Cowell. In fact, I'd say you were hardly in that tunnel at all.
What the hell is Farina saying right now? What are you saying? Did you even look at the evidence? How do you think the magic trick worked? He had to have gone in the tunnel. He must have gone into the tunnel. He had to have been in the tunnel, otherwise nothing could have happened. What are you talking about, Farina? I feel bad for her. Like, I feel she's really doing her best. She's really doing her best to make everything a show, and she's missing everything. She's missing everything. And I feel like this isn't her at all. This is not who she is, and she needs to chill out and just slow it down. Anyway, Farina, you just stop. Farina, stop.
That is simply your hypothesis based on the presumption that I'm guilty.
Oh,
Exactly.
is that so? And if I may ask, what did you hear while you were inside your box?
They wouldn't have passed
The
at the same
countdown
time.
of the crowd, of course. That's how I kept track of the time and built anticipation for the finale.
And you didn't hear anything else at all? Nothing that might leave an impression of any kind?
No, nothing.
I see. But when the count reached 30 seconds or so, there was a thud. One and so loud that I believe practically everyone heard it.
Huh?
Hey, hang on! Something's not right here.
How could Linny not know about that sound?
Yeah, I'm sure he could have heard a noise that loud from inside the box.
I was right by the box, and I definitely heard the thud.
Oh no.
Look at those scales. Could those mean...
They probably represent the oratress's stance on the trial. This oratress basically, it like funnels all the sense of judgment from the people and turns it into like energy, which like powers the city basically. I don't know if they explained that already, but yeah, that's what the oratress does.
Well then, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to use the words of the magician himself. You never know what can happen in the blink of an eye. Indeed,
Sure,
it seems
sure.
his alibi
You know what?
can
Sure.
also collapse in the blink of an eye.
You're
Of
gambling
course,
with people's
I have
lives,
armed
Farina.
myself to do far more than smash your alibi. Confidence cannot go unfounded, and my foundations are rock solid.
I mean, you do have a good foundation.
Aren't you
Do
and
you
Lynette
do you put that on
actually
every
from
morning?
the House of the Hearth?
The House of the Hearth?
They're Fatui?
No wonder they did something like this.
So the serial disappearances
Um,
were what Sue is doing. Now it all makes sense.
No,
I've got a
there's
feeling
something.
that what happened
No,
on stage probably wasn't just an accident.
y'all are idiots. Oh my God, look at this. No,
That's irrelevant. Our identities have nothing to do with what happened.
they are Fatui.
Indeed.
Well,
Then perhaps you could tell us everything that happened during that 1 minute. Your first priority is to prove yourself innocent after all. I'm sure there is little that needs to be kept secret now. Unless your script already has holes in it. The Outlander is speechless. My, oh my, don't they look flabbergasted? Now comes the infighting and discord, I suppose. This was almost too easy.
what the fuck? Are you evil? Now comes the infighting and discord. Is she trying to do this? What is going on, Farina? Are you in on this, or are you just here for the insanity, the chaos? This is not what this is. There's nothing like water is supposed to be chill and calm and soothing, and you're being a hurricane right now. That's Animo and Hydro. Those are two separate things entirely.
Good thing I made all those preparations. Seems the all-nighter I pulled last night is really paying
Oh
off.
my God, it was her.
Hey, Linny! Why didn't you tell us this before?
Linny and Lynette are Fatui.
Order!
That-
Order! Mr. Linny, allow me to reestablish the facts. Lady Farina has raised 2 points.
Okay, before he mentions those 2 points, Fatui, I get it. Fatui they're horrible. They can be horrible, but individually they're not bad. They're not bad people. I don't believe that they're terrible. They have questionable orders all the time. They're all kind of like, I gotta do this thing, I have to do this because it means that I'm being faithful to my people, that kind of thing. But on their own, they're not evil people, and they're just trying to survive. And I think that Linny and Lynette have probably distanced themselves. That's my assumption. That's how I feel, because they're here they're doing some completely separate stuff. They have nothing to do with the other Fatui. Anyway, those are my thoughts. All right, Nouvillette, what are your 2 points?
First, when the thud was heard in the Opera House, you were neither in the box nor the tunnel. Second, you and Ms. Lynette are both members of the House of the Hearth. Are these claims true?
There's no doubt about a magician's ability to con others. Given how Lenny has concealed his identity, this could all have been set up beforehand. No, it was the Archon. The fucking Archon? Plus, Child is here in Fontaine along with other house operatives. There must be some scheme at work here. So Child is another Fatui, also named Tartaglia, who is actually our friend somehow, even though he's like one of the strongest Fatui. Weird, but you know, it happens, I guess. You make friends in unlikely places. I've been a victim of such schemes before, and now...
Please answer my question, Mr. Linney.
I'm sorry. Yes, they're true, Your Honor.
Oh, no.
I knew it!
Well, that's it. We might as well move on to the sentencing already.
What should we
Y'all
do
are dumb.
now?
Permission to speak, Your Honor.
Granted.
My client has withheld some key information. My defense cannot proceed.
In that case, what is your request?
I request a brief adjournment. There are things that must be discussed.
Is that really necessary?
Yes.
They're already as good as guilty.
Shut.
The defendants
Shut.
received their own attorneys. What is there left to
Shh,
discuss?
close your mouth.
Order!
Shut up.
Order, I say!
What he
Your
said.
request is reasonable.
So
and
it's
we
a
shall
little bit
adjourn.
more respectful.
This trial will reconvene in 1 hour.
Alright.
So you would stick to Mr. Linney's defense even after knowing what you do now? You certainly have more professionalism than I thought.
Do you know? I will put you out in the hot sun and watch you evaporate. You will evaporate. Okay, Farina?
In that case, my dear audience, let's allow the joy of victory to steep for a little while longer.
What's wrong with you? Well, Curtis joined. You meet with Lenny and Lynette backstage in the Opera House.
Well, this is awkward. I didn't think the Hydro Archon would dig all that up. I'm sorry, Traveler and Paimon.
I did forget that there was time between. So when she said last night, she was busy last night, she actually meant that she was busy looking up the information. All this stuff happened the previous night, right? If there was any kind of setup, it happened prior to the show, which was in this game yesterday. So yesterday night, the Archon looked all this information up. So I don't know if the Archon is guilty of doing all of this, but I think she's riding on the coattails of the drama, and she's trying to make it into a show, and she's ruining everything. She's destroying everything, and these are lives at stake here. There's literally a girl that's gone missing. It's insane.
Yeah, sorry. Paimon just knew where to start. We trusted you two. We based our entire reasoning on the assumption that you weren't bad guys.
You're friends with Child, though. You're literally friends with Tartaglia.
Not to set the wrong tone or anything, but Paimon's really mad.
I'm very sorry. I know you're angry, and reasonably so, but please, let me explain. I know you've clashed with the Vatui several times before. I wouldn't be surprised if just hearing the word is enough to make you upset. But our organization is very, very large, and the Harbingers have very different personalities and goals.
That's what I'm saying.
Right now, we want to save people. As many as we can.
That's right. I'm sure we're on the same page when it comes to this nation and the disaster that its people might face. I knew if it weren't for our respective identities, we could become good friends. That's why I didn't wish to flat out lie to you, but chose to hide some details instead. The truth is very important, but being completely transparent about everything would see us spending more effort than we need to.
But how can we know this isn't all just another lie?
Right. So, you be the judge. Heck, if I were you, I fear that I'd even struggle to trust me at this point.
I mean, at this point, I don't know.
You met a Fatus who works as a magician, a trickster by trade. All by coincidence, too. But still, I'm asking you to trust me. I am no criminal. At least, not in this case.
Sorry. Please forgive us.
Well, you both say that, but...
Explain the other issue first. Where did you actually go while the trick was being performed? He wasn't in the tunnel. He actually wasn't in the tunnel. That's not possible though, because he had to go underground in order for it to work. There's only one way into the other box. What the fuck?
Right. Let's hear your answer first, and no lies now.
Of course. I'll answer any question you ask. We've been trying to find out how the Oratrice operates. We want to know why it has a consciousness. Why can it deliver sentences accurately? During our investigations, we learned that the machine's core is beneath it. From that moment on, Lynette and I have been designing this box swap trick with the objective of getting close to the core.
Is that why you needed a whole minute?
That's right. In truth, the audience would take about 75 seconds to count down from 60, while I would only need 15 to get to the opposite box. So, after jumping into the tunnel, I accessed the Opera House basement via the vent, and went to investigate the room in which the core is stored.
Hold on. So, why didn't you just do this normally? You could have just found a way to do this outside of being a magician in front of hundreds of people who, like, in the most, like, time-gripping scenario. Lenny, what the hell? This is the wildest. What? Lenny, why? Oh, you could have decided to be a carpenter and been a carpenter and went, hey, I need to fix this, and then built a separate tunnel without people knowing. Alright, well.
That air vent was created during the construction of the tunnel specifically to execute this step.
And what did you find?
Well, nothing. As soon as I reached that room and was about to investigate, I heard someone's voice. Which should have been impossible, of course. I was quite certain that I was the only one in the room. That voice seemed to recognize me and tried to speak to me. I chose to err on the side of caution and retreated the way I came. On the way back, I saw the broken vase and the clothes on the ground, but the countdown was almost finished, so there wasn't time to give it any thought. After that, the homicide occurred just as you saw.
Well, that explains why you didn't hear the thud.
But why do you want to understand how the Oratrice operates? I mean, I'm pretty curious. How does a sense of justice turn into energy which powers the city? Like, how does it absorb justice energy? That's wild, especially on a sense of justice, which is very turbulent. It's never gonna be the same, every day. Like, I don't know.
Because of that prophecy I told you about, of course. We must know all we can about this nation's secrets in order to deal with that prophesized crisis.
That's the only way we can save everyone.
So, there you have it. The whole truth. I swear, I didn't hide anything from you this time. It was never my wish to proceed under this cloud of mistrust either. But, like I said earlier, you can be the judge. If you want to leave because you don't trust the Fatui, there's nothing I can do to stop you.
Well, Traveler, you decide. Paimon will follow your lead however you choose.
I believe in the facts. I will defend you from these charges. I believe that judgment will be dispensed as it should.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for giving us a chance.
The current problem is that the scales are tipped pretty badly against you two. If we want to refute the Hydro Archon's accusations, we're gonna need a seriously watertight defense.
Actually, we already have the key evidence we need.
Huh?
The adjournment's almost over. Let's go back. Key evidence, huh?
Oh, Paimon thinks she gets what you mean.
Key evidence. Well, there was someone else with Lenny. I don't know. But how can you prove that? If they have fingerprints, they could know that Lenny was in, under the Oratrice, but then that's the whole other thing, but I don't know, whatever. Lenny's statement: Lenny claims that he headed to the chamber containing the Oratress's core upon entering the tunnel and did not witness the crime taking place and thus did not hear the thud. But he did hear a voice. The voice in the Oratress core chamber. Lenny claims to have heard a mysterious voice within the chamber that houses the Oratress core within the Opera House's underground structures. So, yeah, very curious. Okay, let's go. The brief adjournment ends and the nail-biting trial reconvenes.
Both parties have returned to their positions. Let us continue the trial. When last we left off, Mr. Linney acknowledged the new evidence presented by Lady Farina as fact. Therefore, Lady Farina may continue stating her reconstruction of the events.
I'll allow it.
That took long enough. Now then, if everyone would lend me their attention. At this stage, let's revisit that scene from Linney's perspective.
Based on the opposition's account of events, you can identify loopholes in their statement. They use evidence and clues obtained during the investigation to refute any erogenous It's not the word. It's not the word I meant to use. Use evidence and clues obtained during the investigation to refute any erroneous assertions of fact and replace them with new inferences. Use your refutations to convince the audience and obtain more support from the people. The Oratress will display such shifts clearly. When you find and refute all incorrect content, you can complete the cycle of refutation and unveil the truth. Okay, begin the refutation.
As the countdown began, he entered the tunnel.
Okay.
When the flatbed trolley passed, he opened the box and got into an altercation with Halsey, which caused the loud thud. He did not realize that the sound could be heard by everyone in the opera house, which is why he claimed earlier that he could not hear the sound. Finally, he used the vase to knock her out, before making her change clothes to prevent others from recognizing her.
Where? Prevent them from recognizing her where? How would she get out? Where would she go? Where was she gonna go?
At this time, Cowell arrived in the tunnel, having heard that strange noise, and caught Linney red-handed. So Linney proceeded to knock him out too before stuffing him into that box. Afterward, Linney passed the unconscious Halsey to his accomplice through the magic box in the audience stands, before operating the devices such that Cowell's death would be ruled an accident.
You'd have to be able to see what was happening behind the box, though. That box was like in the middle. There were people behind the box. Anybody who was looking at the box would know what was going on still. You can't hide anything with that box. That's silly. Okay.
And there you have it. That's the truth behind what happened.
Sure, lady. Whatever you say, Farina.
Does the defendant's side have any objections to Lady Farina's description of the events?
So many. You have no idea how many.
The key to refuting Lady Farina is the order of events. What Linney experienced and what he saw.
Okay, here we go. The loud sound was from Linney and Halsey's fight, but Linney claimed that he heard nothing in order to cover the truth up. So, that would be this one, right? He did not witness the crime taking place and thus did not hear the thud. Refute.
According to Linney, he left via the vent after entering the tunnel. He couldn't have had that altercation with Halsey.
Shazam. Wouldn't Linney, he left via the vent. Yes. So next, Linney knocked Halsey out using the vase and removed her clothes to prevent her from being identified. However, was Linney really in the tunnel at the time? No, he was not. Linney claims to have heard a mysterious voice within the chamber that houses the Oratress core within the Opera House's underground structures.
Linny went to the room that contains the Oratrice's core. This
This is the actual truth. Cowell walked in on Linny, so the latter knocked him out with the vase leading to the victim's death. The existing evidence indicates that when Linny returned to the tunnel, the crime had already taken place and all Linny saw was the young lady's clothes. The clothes belonging to Halsey, the lady who went missing, were found in the tunnel. The reason for this remains unknown. Linny must have been very confused when he saw them.
Linny did not take part in the underground altercation.
He only witnessed traces of the aftermath.
Attention! Ace Detective Paimon has something to say! When the countdown started, Linny did indeed go into the tunnel. But he immediately used a vent to access the Opera House basement, which is where the underground core of the Oratrice is stored.
Look, it's not the best information to give to people, but you know, in this case, it's pretty important. It's pretty important.
Once he reached that area, he heard a voice in what should have been an empty room. Since he felt something was amiss, he returned immediately. The crime scene had already developed by the time he reached the tunnel again, and in order to complete the magic trick, he did not remain there for any length of time. Finally, he reached the surface, and that was when the accident happened from his point of view. Therefore, he's innocent!
Boom, baby. Successful refutation!
Paimon did it! Paimon actually managed to solve that! Oh, wasn't it awesome?
Good job,
In
Paimon.
other words, you believe that he knew nothing of the incident?
That's
Correct, Mundo. However, I believe my opposition's reasoning is flawed.
My reasoning?
The onstage equipment was clearly tampered with in a premeditated fashion. However, you say that Cowell bumped into Linny by chance.
If that's the case, then if Cowell hadn't entered the tunnel, who was the entire setup meant to kill? Assuming that what you say is true, Linny only needed to kidnap the young girl to cause a new disappearance case. What would the point of killing someone on stage be?
Oh, they had a point.
Perhaps to cause
That's right,
drama.
you tell him.
And
Perhaps.
that's why they're partners of mine. They've managed to turn things around.
Oh, well, your denial is very strident, I'll give you that. But what proof do you have to back your claims?
Do you happen to remember how you refuted Linny's alibi initially?
Of course I do. If he had been in the magic box the whole time, how could he have not heard that sound? Why do you ask? You're saying that he wasn't?
Your claim has now become my weapon. Your claim has also become a critical clue. Which is the evidence that Linny wasn't in the tunnel when the crime took place?
That's right! Linny wasn't in the box or in the tunnel. That's why he didn't hear anything strange during the performance.
There you have it.
This means that when the crime happened, Linny had already entered the basement via the vent. The same clue you used to disprove his alibi has now become the best proof!
How do you like that?
Well played.
To think you'd use such logic. Well then, if it wasn't Linny who committed the crimes, then who was it?
The murderer was. Select the gear icons in the interface to check the corresponding case questions. Select answers and fill all the empty gears to verify the correctness of your deduction. If you've made mistakes, you must make another selection from the remaining options. Once you have answered all the questions correctly, you can complete this logic chain. Okay, here we go. Guard's investigation report. The guard's investigation report indicates that the fireworks released near the end of the show ignited and burned through the ropes suspending the water tank above the stage. This caused the water tank to fall and kill Cowell in the box below. If Linny is no longer under suspicion, only the other members of the troupe would have been able to tamper with the props. Linny gave a detailed account of how the trick was supposed to work. By using a box inside a box, the idea was for the box containing the audience member to be transported across via a tunnel underneath, and Linny himself would also use this tunnel to get to the other side. Having changed her outfit, Lynette and her assistant take charge of on-stage interactions. The clothes belonging to Halsey, the lady who went missing, were found in the tunnel. The reason for this remains unknown. Who was the only person who could possibly have committed the crime? I am missing some information. Am I missing something? Do I don't have a piece of evidence? Are you kidding me? When I gathered all the evidence, everything went. It forced me to continue. What? Why do I have a question mark there? Oh, I see. The question is there because I'm choosing between these two to fit here. And I accidentally pressed the button, which made the last clue disappear. So I'm now here for some reason. Okay. It's her, right? It's her.
Halsey is the missing person and an ordinary audience member.
Incorrect. So my other idea was right then, that wasn't him in the box. He wasn't in the box. He walked away and it was someone else entirely.
The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment.
He put someone else in the box, in his place, to make it look like him. Hypothesis is correct. Look, there was so many directions I could take that, so many places I could take that. Also, one of them I messed up because I pressed a button by accident. Don't judge me.
Huh? That can't be right. Are you serious?
Yeah.
The killer was, in fact, Cowell, the deceased!
Is it really Cowell?
Is that so? How interesting! Let's hear your reasoning then.
What I must do next is recreate the truth.
Oh my god. She's
what
talking.
Cowell did, and how he went from would-be perpetrator to victim.
Okay. Cowell's plan in the situation inside the tunnel. How can we envisage Linny as having been unable to interfere with the crime? Why did I suddenly get a lisp just now? What happened there? Why did I get a wisp? Okay, I've been fucking this up entirely. Just entirely. I keep not looking up at the question above me. What I keep trying to do is go, oh, what are the clues that point to who is responsible for this crime, as opposed to I need to look at there's questions on the top. They're asking me questions. I have to answer these questions. So I keep getting it wrong every time because I'm answering the wrong question. I'm losing my mind here. Anyway, how can we envisage Linny as having been unable to interfere with the crime? Well.
It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. They would likely have bumped into Linny as well. Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our criminal ample time.
This one. How can I prove that there was an altercation in the tunnel?
The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal.
Okay. Who is the prime suspect currently? The prime suspect currently, you're gonna say prime suspect, or are we gonna say who am I saying is the prime suspect? Because it's him, right?
The deceased's name is Cowell.
Okay. Where did the missing Halsey go?
No one entered entered or left the Opera House through its entrances.
He couldn't.
So, where would the criminal have wanted to take Halsey?
Still not sure. I'm honestly not sure about this one, because if Halsey, you would definitely be able to see them come out of the box. You must have been able to see them come out of the box, right? Unless you couldn't, then she would still be in the building right now. She would be there in the building as we speak. So, I don't know. Anyway, it's this one. Are you fucking kidding me? The criminal must have understood the methods behind Lenny's... What? Leaving aside how he died, Cowell had all the means to commit the crime at his disposal. The strange noise could likely have been the sound of Cowell and Halsey struggling. Lenny was not in the tunnel for 1 minute. This would have given time for Cowell to bring Halsey out of the magic box in the audience stands. And they would not have seen, somehow. But according to the guard's testimony, no one entered or left the Opera House, so even if he had taken her, there'd be no means of exiting. Exiting from the box would have been in full view of the audience, pretty much guaranteeing that they would have been discovered. That's literally what I'm talking about. So she has to be in... She couldn't be anywhere else, right? I mean, she could have been brought... hid in a box, perhaps, and then escorted through the vent afterward? Because there's nowhere else to go in that tunnel, unless there's another secret entrance.
What's wrong, Traveler? Are you still having trouble figuring things out?
Where in the world did Halsey go?
I see how it is. So this was all just a bluff. And here I thought you had something to show for it. But it seems you're still far from
Fucking
the
kidding me.
truth.
Look, since we're at a dead end, why not consider a different track? Just like the trick as it transpired, the end result must have been utterly different from the magician's initial design.
If only we knew how Halsey disappeared.
Well, that would be nice, but the tunnel only has 3 exits, and none of them seem very likely. And it's not like this is a magic trick where you can just make a real life person disappear. You know, like you did from that water tank, Lynette.
Escaping from the water tank. Wait, could it have been the water? The water in the...
Excuse my
Oh my god.
interruption, dear opponents. But do you not see that the crowd is growing impatient? There is no greater sin in this opera house than an awkward delay in the performance.
When Lynette disappeared from the water tank, she left her clothing. She left her clothing in the water tank. Just like Halsey left her clothing beside the pot that had broken and spilled water everywhere. No. I mean, I'm getting it. I might have failed, but I'm figuring it out. Okay.
Further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Objection! I mean, hold on a second.
Lenny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our criminal ample time. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. The deceased's name is Cowell, Lenny's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment.
It said that I failed, but I didn't actually fail. It made me think that I failed, but I didn't, because I didn't have this key piece of equipment here. This information was important. This game is gaslighting me. I thought I failed. I was like, I'm a better detective than this. You're saying that I'd fucked this up? No, I did not. I'm smarter than that. Okay? At least a little bit.
The vase was not broken by chance. It was used to cover important evidence. The water.
So we have a hydro user. Something like that. Like whoever did this uses hydro. Hypothesis correct. Got me all fucked up.
Paimon gets it! It all comes together if Halsey disappeared instead of being kidnapped. Lynette is from the water tank, vanishing gradually and leaving only clothes behind. If there's a similar method where a person could be transformed into water...
Just a moment, please. I do hope you know how preposterous you sound at the moment.
Now, if you think about, there was the legend that they had, right, was that people would be pulled into the water and dissolve. They would dissolve into the water. Do you think that's actually happening? It's the prophecy coming true. Or do you think that the prophecy itself isn't specifically that people are going to dissolve, but that this instance is the reality of it, and that something is happening where people are being dissolved into water? There could be a culprit, or not. I don't know. I'm very curious about this.
How could a person ever be transformed into water? This is reality we're talking about here, not some magic trick.
Nope, it's no magic trick. I request that we examine Kao's personal effects. We might find something there.
Must we really? I should think that of anyone. Your friend Linny already knows this truth very well.
Okay, stop.
Magic tricks are ultimately just illusions and misdirection. But Halsey's disappearance is very real. We're talking about two completely different things.
Magic tricks are ultimately just illusions and misdirection. You are literally the Hydro Archon. You control water. You can talk to giant creatures made of water. You live in Tevat, lady. What are you talking about? Anything is possible. Anything. Just have you read a book? There's like 30 billion books in this game, Farina. You should probably read the books. You'd probably have your mind changed a little bit. Farina, stop skipping all the story dialogue and listen to the characters. Stop. Don't just press X and skip through the dialogue. There's so much to learn, Farina. There's so much to learn. Read and understand and love play the game that you're in. I guess you can't play it because you're a character. You don't really know that you're in a game. Look.
Even so, I trust the traveler's judgment. The truth must be out there somewhere. Perhaps some new line of reasoning may open if we try to gather all the focal points that don't make sense. Since Cal was the deceased, we haven't placed much attention on him. But given that we aren't making much progress with the case, it wouldn't hurt to have a look at his belongings, would it?
People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes when at the end of their rope. The way I see it, your suggestion that we broaden the scope of our investigation is nothing but a tactic for stalling the trial.
Sure.
Nevertheless, I believe that this is a reasonable request on the part of an attorney. Since the trial does indeed appear to be at an impasse, I believe that additional evidence may help us make more progress. Guards, please step into the lounge and examine the personal effects of the deceased Cal.
After some time, a guard returns with news.
We are still examining the items, but we have already made critical progress that we feel must be shared with everyone post-haste. We discovered several test tubes of fluid within Cowl's baggage, each labeled separately.
My question, why were these not part of the investigation to begin with? This should have been these should have been investigated in the beginning. This should have been part of the evidence. Part of gathering evidence is checking the corpse of the body, the person. You have to look at the body. He's literally the victim. What the hell? I don't. Okay, whatever.
The notebook in his backpack claims that these fluids are water from the primordial sea.
The primordial sea.
The note's contents also indicate that Cowell belonged to an organization that sells illegal drugs and that he had an accomplice. The notebook has many entries concerning safe usage of these fluids, in which the keyword dissolve appears many times.
There's the word.
One of these tubes was labeled Opera Epiclese, along with yesterday's date. It is empty. The notes also state that these dissolution properties work exclusively on people from Fontaine. It's likely that Halsey was chosen as some sort of test subject. As such, we believe that the defense's hypothesis is, in fact, supported by sufficient evidence.
I think that the tank falling, everything, all of that was meant as a distraction for what was actually happening below stage. And somehow, my dude died. He's dead, or he'd switched it with somebody else. But I don't think he was supposed to die there. No, I don't understand why he died when he was the one perpetuating it. I'm a little lost there. He did have an accomplice, which makes me think that perhaps the accomplice is actually the one who dropped the tank on the stage, right? Maybe he knew more than the accomplice wanted him to or something, and he was like, I need to get you out of the way, so let's kill two birds with one stone. Something like that, perhaps. I don't know. We'll see.
You've got to be kidding. People dissolving into water?
Yeah.
Could something so ridiculous actually be true?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. This reminds me of a certain prophecy.
It's a prophecy.
It's just a coincidence, isn't it?
Huh. If people can become water, does that mean that the water tank's real use was as a means to hide water stains? And if Cowl was targeting that girl...
Did you know people can become water, and also water can become people? Pretty crazy. I know. Look at these beautiful people. This was a good event. I love this event. I'm showing it on the screen right now. Just know that it was really cool to be experience this event. Anyway, back to the story.
Wait just a minute. Could that mean... You two, with me, quick!
Demoiselle, wait! What about your partners?
Let's go. Just trust me.
Order! Order! It is undeniable that further examination of the deceased's personal effects has yielded some surprising results, but we cannot yet verify the veracity of these clues. Still, let us assume that these clues are indeed authentic, albeit with the understanding that Ms. Halsey has yet to be found. Guards, please continue examining the items along these lines. Mr. Linney, it appears your hypothesis is supported by the evidence, so please continue speaking.
Of course. Thank you, Your Honor. If we uphold this hypothesis, I believe that many of this case's seemingly unrelated clues can be connected together.
Right! Like the metal hook! That one didn't make sense at all.
I thought it was like some form of escape, like how they
about
left
this.
or something.
Cowell's methods must have something to do with that water from the primordial sea.
The liquid the guards found in Cowell's luggage seems to have the ability to dissolve the Fontanians into water. Oh, here we go again. Okay, who is the prime suspect currently? That would be our boy Cowell here.
Name is Cowl.
What item did the culprit use to control the timing of the dissolution?
Now it seems like the hook rope was not meant for another magic trick, but was instead some form of triggering mechanism.
What item did the culprit use to dissolve Halsey?
The water from the primordial sea should already have been prepped before Halsey entered the magic box.
What item did the culprit use to hide the mechanism behind the crime? It was this, right? Because this, you know, the tank created the water, which hid the crime, right? It hid the mechanism being this, right? There we go. Okay. Alright. Sure. You know what? That's fine.
There was
Who's this one
something
then?
else within the inner layer of that box.
What's this one? What item did the culprit use to hide the mechanism behind the crime? Obviously, it was the water. That was the point. The water hid the mechanism. The mechanism being the dissolver, the dissolvent, right? I don't know. Whatever. It's this one.
It's Ace Detective Paimon's time to shine again! In the original plan, Cowell would tamper with the water tank rope and the number selector securing his target. When the magic box containing Halsey was lowered, the metal hook would retract gradually and pierce the balloon at the top of the box. When the balloon attached to the box popped, the water from the primordial sea inside it would pour down and dissolve Halsey.
Oh my
Afterward,
god, that must have
Cal
been
would
terrifying.
enter the tunnel and break the flower vase to conceal the water inside the tunnel, with the remaining evidence being covered up by the water tank on stage. But he encountered something unexpected in the tunnel and wound up being fatally hit by the same water tank he meant to use to cover his tracks.
Something was in the
That does
tunnel.
make sense.
That actually links together a lot of the more confusing pieces of evidence.
Oh dear, what do I do? Even I think they sound convincing now. Have I falsely accused an innocent person? What a humiliation.
Now,
That's what I wanted to
it
hear.
seems like the only point of contention remaining is the exact circumstances that led to Cal's death. His notes mentioned he had an accomplice who could be related to the situation.
On that note, the guards have just contacted me indicating that they uncovered new evidence. I shall now invite him on stage to share it with us.
Let's hear it, buddy.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
We were just inspecting the luggage of the other people involved in this case. And we found an identical sample of the water from the primordial sea among Linny's personal effects.
What?
Linny?
That can't be.
Hmm.
Oh, I see. Well, how wonderfully comedic to have your own counterattack only to come back.
I mean,
and
it could be,
wound you.
he could be being framed.
Does this not clear all doubt? My dear citizens.
Chill, calm down, everybody calm down.
My loyal audience, allow me to present my reasoning and bring this performance to a swift close.
We're in a stop. Oh my god. Here we go.
He did not need to take part in the dissolution of the young woman at all. Indeed, he did leave the scene via the vent. Having made modifications to the props beforehand, his accomplice Cowell then caused Halsey to vanish using the water from the primordial sea. But upon his return, in cruel avarice, Linny desired sole credit and prepared to do away with his partner in crime. Ultimately, he knocked Cowell out, and the tool meant to cover the crime up also became a murder weapon. Now, as much as I regret having come to such a viciously straightforward conclusion, it does seem that the famed Fatui is quite the cold-blooded and ruthless organization.
I mean, yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Mr. Linny?
No, I don't think you are.
We've used up all the evidence we collected. There's no way for us to make a rebuttal here. Is this the end of the road?
No. No. This is clearly wrong. Oh my god, no. I thought I could do something there.
It doesn't look
No,
like there's any way
no.
around this.
Come on, Deus Ex Machina.
Seems
Where are
using
you?
the water as new evidence was too good a move. Oh, why did this have to happen now?
No.
I
Wait for
think
it.
we've all seen enough now, and we have ample witnesses to my flawless reasoning.
Sure.
I believe this is indeed the finale.
No. It is not. Nope.
Now then, my
No.
good,
Stop.
noble Chief Justice, should we not, in your view, move...
Excuse me, everyone, but I must interject.
Ah, there she is.
Miss, I must ask you not to shout and to
Sorry.
respect the ongoing legal
Wait,
proceedings.
why am I apologizing?
Oh, come on. Don't be hasty. I have a good reason for interrupting, you know. Now, would anyone here like to take a little break from all this debate and see a little magic? I'll show you an amazing trick. One that can bring a young woman who has disappeared back in the flesh, right before your very eyes.
Oh my god.
Please, do the honors, Mr. Linny, if you would be so kind.
Whoa.
What in the world is she saying?
No offense, miss, but miracles like that are beyond my scope as a magician.
Come on now, don't be silly. Magic is all about misdirection, isn't it? It often conceals the truth while presenting a fascinating illusion. But once everyone believes the illusion, can't magic reveal the truth to them once again?
And wouldn't such a trick be the most marvelous finale to today's performance? Come on, Lenny and Lynette. Give it another go. Don't worry. Spina di Rasula has made the necessary arrangements on your behalf. But as the magic makers and stars of the show, I think I should leave the final performance to you.
I understand.
Okay, I guess we're doing it again. Here we go.
And voila.
Sorry for the interruption.
Wait,
Are you the
isn't that
accomplice?
Halsey? So the whole thing about people dissolving wasn't true after all?
Are you fucking
To be
kidding me?
clear, I'm only here because this person told me that if I testified, the merit of doing so would lessen my sentence. I was hiding outside this room listening to the proceedings because I was afraid that I would be the one put on trial. I was just feeling happy that no one had noticed me, and then before I knew it, she caught me.
That'll teach you to underestimate us three.
Where should I begin? I'm sorry. I'm the one who killed Cowl. I admit it.
Halsey, hello?
What? Why?
Firstly, my name isn't Halsey. It's Lillian, and I'm originally from Mondstadt.
How dare
I heard
you?
that Linny's show was going to be a real thriller, but I missed the chance to buy a ticket, so I stole one.
I
That's
knew
how
you
I
were
make
the
a
thief.
living. I steal stuff here and there.
I knew she was the
And
thief.
I've never been caught before. But I was noticed at the harbor a few days ago, and I barely got away. Lenny was the one who caught me in the act.
Hey! No wonder you look familiar. So you were the thief. Liddy even mentioned that you were pretty skilled.
Well, and I thought that would have been the end of it, but then the number selector chose me. He even mentioned the Fortress of Meripede. That's a prison, isn't it? So you can imagine how shocked I was. I thought he was onto me for sure. So I played along with the show while looking for an opening to flee, but then I got water poured on me for no reason, and then someone jumped into the tunnel to nab me. I wasn't going to take that lying down, so I knocked him out and stuffed him into the box. There was nowhere to run from there, though, so I had to change my clothes and hide in a box containing performance costumes. I slipped out after the first guard arrived at the scene and continued hiding inside the opera house.
Can a person even hide in there?
If they're a practiced hand at concealment, probably, a professional thief could make it work.
But I swear I didn't know that the water tank would fall down. Really, I swear it. Had I known that, I wouldn't have put him in the magic box. I may be a thief, but I'm no killer.
Well, that makes everything pretty clear now, doesn't it?
Yeah. Now it's time to refute the Hydro Archon's previous reasoning.
This time, we need to tell the entire story from Lillian's perspective.
Okay. Here we go. Cowl planned to use the prepared apparatuses for the magic tricks to dissolve Halsey inside the magic box, as Halsey has appeared completely unharmed before all of our eyes. Farina's conjecture no longer holds water, and how would Halsey have reacted when the water from the primordial sea suddenly began to trickle in? There was an audible thump that many audience members heard.
The strange sound wasn't from a fight. It was Lillian's attempt to break out when she was frightened.
Yup. Linny wanted all the credit and glory, and wanted to get rid of all his partners. As Halsey has appeared completely unharmed before all of our eyes, Farina's conjecture no longer holds water, but there is evidence proving that a fight did indeed break out in the tunnel. There are many pieces of broken flower vase on one side of the tunnel. All the water within has been spilled. Judging from the distance, it seems unlikely that it was knocked over by the trolley meant to transport the magic box. It was instead knocked over by the altercation.
The flower vase was not broken to cover anything up, but was smashed during the struggle between Lillian and Cowl.
Yup. Linny knocked Cowl out. Then, using the method used to dissolve young girls, he got rid of Cowl and disguised it as an accident. as Halsey has appeared completely unharmed before all of our eyes. Furina's conjecture no longer holds water. After the fight, then, what did Halsey do? She ran away.
Lillian was afraid that she would be recognized if she left, so she changed clothes and hid, biding her time. Just what one might expect of an experienced thief.
So Cowl was behind the disappearances.
Detective Paimon time!
Cowl is a serial killer. The serial killer was murdered by his own victim.
Having been selected out of the blue, Lillian panicked. Her panic only intensified after she entered the tunnel and had water poured on her head. So she kicked the door open, producing the thud we all heard. Hearing the commotion, Cowl leapt into the tunnel, only to discover that Lillian had not dissolved. He did not know that Lillian was not from Fontaine, but was a thief who made her way in by stealing a ticket.
I'm not even mad, though. I'm not even mad about that. Right on. Do it again. Do it several more times. It's completely fine. She was having fun. I support her.
Mistakenly believing that the water from the primordial sea needed time to take effect, he tried to force Lillian back into the box. The two broke the flower vase during the struggle, but Lillian came out on top, knocking Cowl out and putting him in the box,
where he would proceed to be crushed to death. R.I.P. and piss.
With no way of escaping, she changed her clothes and hid in the costume trunk until the performance ended.
And Cowl was crushed to death in the box. Once again, rest in piss. Successful refutation.
She knew that she would have to go through guard inspection if she tried to leave afterward. So, she has been trapped in the Opera House these last 2 days.
She had already become desperately hungry by the time we were chatting over macarons. So,
she ate
swiped 2 of them right under our noses.
She ate 2 of them.
Talk about a sneaky thief.
At this point, all the events that happened in the tunnel have now come to light.
Ah, so that's the whole story. Bravo! Bravo!
There we go.
Lady Furina, do you wish to speak against the defense's statements? Please answer the question, Lady Furina. Also, if I may add, the trial has not yet ended. As such, I request that the prosecution not leave the room before the proceedings have concluded.
What? Are you reading my mind now? No, I have no further arguments. I admit defeat. But really, could you at least have left me with some dignity?
Wow, look at that! She's like a deflated balloon now.
If there are no objections, then as the Chief Justice of Fontaine, I shall once again repeat the full sequence of events. The actual perpetrator of the serial disappearances, Cowl, selected his next victim from the audience reservation list. With some modifications to the selector, he could ensure that the pre-selected young woman would be chosen. To cover up any evidence while committing the deed, Cowl thought of allowing the water tank to fall, which would conceal the water left behind after the young woman was dissolved. He also tampered with the rope suspending the water tank, using the fireworks at the end of the performance to cause the tank to drop and hide the watermarks. He poured the water from the primordial sea into a balloon during the preparation of the magic box and stuck it to the box's lid. Finally, he passed the prepared hook on a rope through the gap in the magic box's door when bringing the young woman to said box. When the magic trick officially began, the box containing the woman was lowered into the tunnel, tightening the hook rope and bursting the balloon containing the water. If all had gone to plan, the young woman would be dissolved at this time. However, Lillian was not from Fontaine and thus fled the box with a loud noise. Realizing that there was trouble, Cowl entered the tunnel and met Lillian. Thinking that the waters had not yet taken effect, he decided to proceed. However, his opponent was more capable than he thought, and he was overcome, knocked unconscious, and placed into the magic box.
A girl boss.
And thus became his own final victim. Lillian, according to her own statements, then changed clothes and hid until the performance ended, before hiding in other parts of the opera house. As for Linny, he was in the underground structures within the opera house, and was thus ignorant of these happenings. From this reconstruction of events, we can conclude that Linny, the accused, is in fact innocent
of these crimes.
While there is much in Linny and Lillian's conduct that should still be investigated separately, this case, at least, can be handed over to the Oratrice to make the final decision. As such, Linny and Lynette are officially declared not guilty.
Woo! Hey!
Great work, partners.
We did it. Hell yeah.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Let's not celebrate just yet. I'm celebrating, okay? I'm celebrating.
Next, I think we deserve an explanation, Guard Vaughn. How did you find the water from the primordial sea in Linny's baggage?
Right! Your discovery caused me to make a serious mistake, you know. Or was that not a discovery, but false evidence that you dare to bring before this court?
I suspect that the accomplice mentioned in Cowell's notes was not Linny, but you, yes?
Oh my god, it just goes deeper. It just gets deeper.
I'm sure you know what you must do to lessen your sentence.
Speak quickly! Unless you want to earn yourself a one-way ticket to Coupon Town.
I was just following orders. We were supposed to place blame for the serial disappearances onto Linny, and thus cause suspicion to fall on the Fatui. The higher-ups said this was the best opportunity to do so.
And now that your plan has fallen through, and the secrets of the water have been revealed, you have become a liability to said higher-ups, yes? Therefore, you would be wise to tell everything you know, and seek the protection of the guards.
Yes, I'll tell you everything I know. Our boss discovered that the water can cause people to dissolve. It can also be made into a potion, which when extremely diluted, can cause people to experience unforgettable exhilaration. We've been in this business for a while now, and have made decent mora off it. The disappearances were also the boss's idea. I mean, this is the boss we're talking about.
Oh, shit. He turned into water. Oh my god.
He can no longer talk.
Such ruthlessness.
How?
I shouldn't have expected any less of them.
An outrageous act. All present, please submit to inspection immediately.
Oh my god. However, nothing is found on the scene apart from the liquid left behind after Vaughn dissolved.
So, we're just going back now?
The problem seems to have been solved for now. We're not needed here anymore.
That's true, but...
Traveler, Paimon, please wait.
Linny...
I know you may not want to speak to me right now. Maybe you don't even want to look at me. But still, let me thank you again for defending me to the end, even after you learned that I'm a member of the Fatui.
We have literally spoken to Child recently. Within this Archon Quest, there is a part we see Child appear. We are talking to him. We call him a friend. He is a member of the Fatui. He is literally a harbinger. A Fatui harbinger, one of the most dangerous and corrupt organizations in Teyvat. And we're buddies with him. Why are we angry at Linny for just being a part of the Fatui? It's silly to me. Lenny, you're good in my book. You're good in my book. I just didn't wish to see anyone be falsely accused. I just wanted to be sure that we're square.
I guess. But regardless, I'd like the opportunity to set things straight. I didn't approach you with any ulterior motives or ill intent. I've spoken to you as myself, just plain Linny this entire time. As for why I'm a Fatus, it's because the goals of the House of the Hearth align with those of an orphan like me. That's all. That was how Father, who you might know as the Knave, approached recruiting us back then too.
The Knave? The one who controls the House of the Hearth? She's your father?
That's right. And since we're here, I was wondering, would you mind hearing a story? It's about my past. Back when our parents first died, Lynette and I were left wandering the streets. To survive, I took to surreptitiously observing an older street performer who did magic. It took me several days to figure out how he pulled off his amazing tricks. I took my sister through several streets until we found a crowded corner, and we began to perform magic tricks there. To my surprise, we proved to be pretty popular, and we could at least stop worrying about where our next meal would come from for a time. But I didn't want my sister to remain a street rat together with me forever. Before long, an aristocrat came to me and claimed that he wished to take us in after watching my performances.
So you went from orphans to nobility just like that?
That was how we felt at first too. As if fate was on our side and we could say goodbye to those painful days. But I gradually discovered that while we were called foster children, he was really after my talent for magic tricks. He would constantly take me to all sorts of banquets to garner attention, which he would then use to expand his social circles.
That doesn't seem too bad either. Better than roaming the streets at any rate.
I mean, yeah, but...
It took a while for me to realize just how dark his heart really was.
Right there.
After one particular performance at a banquet, I discovered that Lynette was not on the same return vehicle as me. I waited a long time after we returned home, but she did not come back. I went to that noble's bedroom and asked him about her whereabouts. The answer he gave me was, she caught the eye of the most eminent person at the banquet, so I sent her over as a gift. I mean, you'll be able to perform your magic regardless of who your assistant is, yes?
Oh no. So he was gonna... But wouldn't Fontaine's laws deal with such people?
As far as outsiders are concerned, this is a relationship akin to adoption or foster care, and they have their ways of escaping the eye of the law.
What the fuck?
I managed to ferret out the location of the mansion of that so-called eminent person and hurried through the night. But by the time I leaped over the walls, avoided the guards, and made my way in, all I saw was the moonlit ground covered in blood, and the knave standing there in the darkness.
Girl boss. Girl boss. She did nothing wrong.
So, she'd already taken care of that guy.
It's fine. It's totally fine.
That's right. She had rescued my sister before she could come to any harm, and had even discovered several girls hidden in a basement, all of them orphans.
What the fuck?
Father, I mean, the knave, might have seen something in me, and so she made me an offer. The House of the Hearth welcomes you, for your interests align with ours. Here, none will ever betray you. Indeed, betrayal shall never be permitted here. I was hesitant to trust her. I mean, I had just been betrayed by nobles. But she was also quick to destroy the noble who had taken us in at first, giving us back our freedom.
Oh,
Freedom's relative.
So that's how the two of you joined the House of the Hearth.
It's all in the past, though. The knave is after the Gnosis, isn't she?
She has her own plans. She has gained permission from the Sarita to first use the Gnosis's power once she obtains it. She plans to use it to find a way to break the prophecy and save Fontaine.
A Gnosis is the energy that a person wields with the power of the elements. Does she want the Archon's gnosis? I think that's what she's saying.
So, she believes in that prophecy too?
That's right. The whole House of the Hearth is currently working to combat that crisis. Today's case has also proven that people from Fontaine can indeed dissolve into some sort of water, thus further supporting the prophecy. All of us house members here, Lady Arlecchino herself included, are from Fontaine. We won't give up on defending our homeland. To us orphans, the only connection we have left to this world, apart from our family, is our homeland.
So, from small deeds like distributing magic pockets to huge schemes like stealing a gnosis, everything is aimed at dealing with that prophecy.
I'm sorry, but I still can't completely trust you.
It's all right. I understand. The only thing I can do is relate all this to you. I just hope you can understand that even as a member of the House, I have never stopped making my own decisions, and that I believe what I'm doing is right. If you should need anything at all in the future, feel free to find me. I will do my best to help you, as plain Linny.
I understand. Goodbye.
Bye, Linny!
Oh, Paimon. Well. Alright, our partner.
Hey there! What was with the disappearing act you pulled right as the trial ended?
Were you looking for us?
We dissolved into water, sorry.
Well, this whole thing isn't exactly over, is it? I do feel that we're getting closer to solving the serial disappearances case, though. Don't you think so, too?
Well, I'm sorry, Navio. I'm sorry. But you have to give me a kiss. You just have to. It's really important, and I can't speak any more until I get a little. I'm sorry. That's actually really creepy. It's really creepy, right? It's really creepy that I said that. But it's true.
Huh? What's wrong, my dear partner?
I was really only trying to defend Lenny. I wasn't necessarily looking into serial disappearances case. You probably should have, though. You should have done that.
Are you sure we're the ones who can crack a case that's been cold for decades now? And given that there's new evidence from the trial, there should be a trail of breadcrumbs for the Hydro Archon's people to follow now, right?
Ah. I see. Well, I won't lie. I'm a little shocked to hear that from you. But I suppose you are just travelers who have only arrived in Fontaine after all.
Help them.
Sorry.
Help them.
I might have been too presumptuous.
Don't say that, Navia.
Traveler, help them.
Aw,
Literally help them.
We were having so much fun investigating with you, too.
You literally fought in a war that you had nothing to deal with, Traveler. Just
It's like having new
help them.
waters flowing into a stagnant mire, causing new hope to spring forth, and the reflection in the murk to become clearer.
Okay, well.
Sorry about that.
That was a bit much, but
I'm a bit prone to nostalgia.
that's okay.
Don't mind
it's okay.
me.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Wait, shall we have a farewell meal? You know, to commemorate our time as partners?
Yes.
Huh? Do we really need to get that
More
formal?
sweets. More sweets.
Well, guess you really
More
did
sweets.
treat us as partners, huh?
More sweets.
Well, I just like to have a proper ending to every important memory. That way there are no regrets later.
More sweets.
Anyway, it would just be a meal, so it shouldn't take up too much of your time.
Well, if you say so, let's go have that meal then.
You don't have to twist Paimon's arm. If Boss Navia's treating, count Paimon in.
Hell yeah.
Oh, wonderful. In that case, why don't we return to the Court of Fontaine and head to the Hotel de Boer? I believe we'll make it just in time for dinner.
All right, then. Let's have our farewell meal.
More sweets. Well, that's it from me today. Thank you for joining me with Genshin Impact. I know there's lots more of the Archon Quest available. Who is ultimately behind the disappearances of these people? What is the mystery behind
If
this
you ever want to
substance?
trade tactics, I'm always
There's
ready.
so much more to uncover, but I think that those mysteries should be solved by you. So, get Genshin Impact. This game is fantastic. I love it so much. The story is fantastic. The lore is fantastic. Characters, the environments, everything. Anyway, more mysteries are available for you when you pick up this game. But first, you have to get through the other Archon quests, which are just as fantastic. There are, Mondstadt, Liyue, Inazuma, and Sumeru. They come before Fontaine, so you'll have to get through those, but those are just as fantastic, just as beautiful, and I know you'll have fun. Alright, so this has been Genshin Impact. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time.
Cold beer after a hard day's work. Nothing like it.
Beto, I'm telling you, you need to calm down on the beer. You need an intervention. You need an intervention. It's becoming a little much. Anyway, and as always, just call Beto, please. You need to just slow it down just a little bit, Beto. Just slow it down, okay? Just maybe take a day off of the beer, okay? All right. Anyway, and as always, just call Master Corvidien. Have a good one, guys. Goodbye. Beto, stop.